Hi there, welcome to Floating in Dreams. These are my favorite fragrances for the fall time. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my top 10 favorite fragrances that I like to wear in the fall time. I did a most worn fragrances over in the summertime, where you'll see a little bit of overlap here with some of the things that I mentioned then. But there are definitely things that when the weather starts to cool, I tend to start to gravitate towards other things. And these are some of the things that I like to reach for. Some of these I reach for more so than other times. And I thought that because a lot of people really like that fragrance video, I was like, maybe I can make it a more regular thing. Some people said that it would be good to also know about my least worn fragrances. But since I haven't really been buying a lot of fragrance, and I also don't have anything like plan to be buying any more fragrances very, very soon, I think rather than doing like an updated fragrance collection, because my collection in 2025 is going to be the same as the one in 2026, I think I can do it then. So then I can like have a look at my entire fragrance collection and actually talk about the things that I wear the least. But today I was like, you know what? The seasons have changed. Let's chat about my favorite fall fragrances. So here we go. First things first, you need to know that I sort of like certain things and I really do not like certain other things. I'm not a floral girl. I definitely do still have floral perfumes and fragrances in my collection, but I tend to veer more towards like gourmandy, sweeter scents. But I also don't like them to smell like candy. So anything that is like too like sickly sweet, I also don't enjoy. So if it's too floral or too sweet, I don't like it. I really like it if the sweetness is more like an herbally, like peppery kind of sweetness. One of my favorite notes in some of my fall fragrances are, a lot of them I think here will have pink pepper. As I'm talking about each fragrance, I will be popping on the screen what the fragrance notes are. I really don't know them from the top of my head. Because I just don't, but I once screenshotted all of the fragrance notes of every single fragrance I own from Fragrantica, so I will be popping those up on the screen. So if you want to know what the scent profile is like, according to Fragrantica, I will have that on the screen for you. And I think one of my major contenders is this one. This is the Dior Homme Original fragrance. And yes, this is a men's fragrance, and I am a woman, but I very much feel that when it comes to fragrance, the marketing is gendered, but the scents themselves really aren't. I have a pretty big bottle, and you can see I do have a nice little dent in there as well. However, this is the one that I think they launched a couple of years ago. They have changed the scent profile of this ever so slightly in the newer renditions that have come out more recently. So I still have one of the older bottles, you could say, and apparently that's the best one. And I do know that Zara did a dupe for this. They did like a rain collection a couple of years ago. I have a couple of Zara fragrances. I don't wear them too often because they don't last very well on me. And there was a dupe for this one in that Zara fragrance line a couple of years ago. I do know that. This has a sort of woodsy smokiness to it, and then this sort of like powdery dry down. I bought this to replace one of my all-time favorite fragrances, which is Love Chloe by Chloe, that was discontinued. My bottle is very, very low. I do no longer wear it for that reason. I really save it for special occasions. And I was looking for something that would give me the feel of that sort of powderiness that the Love Chloe had. And this is the closest thing that I have found. And it's sort of like these very sort of powdery things. I think this has iris in, if I'm not mistaken. That's the thing that I like in this a lot. So I have discovered iris as a fragrance note through this fragrance, and I really enjoy it. So I don't wear it like too heavily. I don't like douse myself in this stuff like you sometimes smell with some people. I tend to just spray fragrance on both my wrists, in my neck, and then in like on the back of my neck. I lift up my hair and spray it on the back of my neck, so that I do like smell nice, but that like hardly ever does anyone comment on my fragrances that I'm wearing, because I don't think anyone can really smell them, especially because my hair is covering up most of it, but it's just sort of like a me thing. And I really sort of am a mood wearer when it comes to fragrance. I tend to pick things based on my mood, and recently I have really been loving this one again. I think in the past year or so, I wasn't wearing it all that much. And then this year, I spotted the bottle again, and I was like, I want to wear you. And I was wearing it nonstop for like 2 weeks in like the early days of October. So this has been a really lovely one. Shall we stick to the men's fragrances for a sec? Because I have another one that I like to wear in the fall time. This is Bleu de Chanel, which is now, of course, helmed by Timothée Chalamet. That's what he's called, right? And this is actually a bit of a weird one how I came to this. The Dior one I came to because I was looking for a replacement. This I received as a tester with an order very randomly. And then I took that tester with me when I was traveling. That's usually what I do for fragrance when I travel. I don't want to risk glass bottles breaking in my bag. So I always feel that's a great opportunity for me to be testing out new fragrances. Because if I don't like them throughout the day, or they, like, I don't know, it just, nobody will associate me with that scent. And I was wearing this and I was like, it's a men's fragrance, but I actually like it for me. It has more of a freshness to it than most of the fragrances I'm sharing with you today. I think this has a citrus note in, if I'm not mistaken, or like a bergamot or something like that. But this again also has this sort of warmth to it that I really appreciate, but this is sort of like borderline what I like to go for with a men's fragrance. I feel like some men's fragrances can be very heavily, like almost alcohol scented, and it's more like aftershave than an actual like fragrance, I feel. But this sort of, I don't know how to describe it. It has this peppery sweetness to it that I really enjoy, and on me, the fresh note dissipates really, really quickly. And what I'm left with once it's been on my skin for a little bit is this really nice warm hug. When I wear this, it reminds me of a cashmere sweater. That's what I want to smell like in the fall time. I don't know about you, but that's the scent I want to go for. So Chanel, Bleu de Chanel, yes, another men's fragrance. These are the only two, I promise, but the rest I believe is either unisex or made for women. So if you do fall for the gender marketing of fragrances, then that's that. But I tend to go by scent profiles mostly. Speaking of warm hugs in a fragrance, I think I counted these as one in my little top 10 here. These are by no means in any particular order. I also like some of my replica fragrances. I actually decided to wear Whispers in the Library today, and I was like, will that be like perfect for this video? I think it can work as well, but I think I like Whispers in the Library a little bit more for the winter time than I do now for like right now. But Jazzclub is of course a classic, as is By the Fireplace. I just have these little 30 ml versions of it. You'll see that with a lot of my fragrances. Actually, I tend to not buy the really big bottles unless I know, like with the Dior, I knew I would love that from the start. I tend to first commit to like a smaller version, and then I see how much I wear it. And then if I use it up completely and the fragrance is still available, that's when I commit to buying the larger version. That's usually how it works in my brain, because else I'm going to be stuck with all of these really big, huge bottles of fragrance. And since I'm a mood wearer, I like to just switch things up. So having small things like this that I do sometimes like to travel with can just work a charm. Jazzclub for me, making sure I grab the right one. This one, of course, doesn't smell very much because I don't spray it that often, you can tell. But I have another size of this. That's why I don't have the big bottle for that one either. Because I have, or is it By the Fireplace? I have another travel size for that. That's what I'm trying to say. But this, of course, has this really wonderful, like, boozy, bourbon-y kind of note to it. It smells like alcohol. It smells like you're in, like, Prohibition 1920s. And that's just sometimes the vibe that I want to go for, especially in the fall time, even though I think this translates really well to winter as well. Same thing for By the Fireplace, but this has more of like a woodsy sort of sweetness to it. I definitely feel that this is a little bit sweet for me sometimes. I do like it a lot, but I would like to like it to smell more like burned wood. And with this, I get more like the actual smell of the wood. So I feel like the burnt note could have been a little bit stronger in this. So I do like it a lot, but for right now, it's definitely another really good one. Speaking of smelling like a cashmere sweater, another fragrance I have that very much gives me that feeling is my Guerlain Mon Amour, I think this is called, or just Guerlain, Mon Guerlain? What's this called again? Mon Guerlain. That's what it's called. I keep, like, and this is a very gourmand scent, and this is why, like what I said just now about buying smaller sizes, I have to really be in the mood for this. Most days, this is far too sweet for me. If I'm smelling it today, I'm like, ooh, no. But, you know, sometimes I want that more romantic feel that this gives. And this is just, like I said, a warm hug in a fragrance. That's what I like to go for when it comes to what the type of fragrances I like to wear in the fall winter season. And this one, like I said, right now it's too sweet. I'm more into like the woodsy vibes momentarily, but this I've been like, it's a small size, but you can see I've got a dent in this quite a bit because when I first bought this, I was obsessed with it. But now that I'm smelling it, I'm a little under the weather today. So I'm smelling it right now and it's giving me a little bit of a headache, which is the reason why I don't like overly floral or overly sweet scents very often, because that's usually the effect. Also, if I like sit down on the train and someone is wearing like way too much perfume and it's really like coming into my nose, I can get a headache really, really easily. Speaking of something sweeter that I do enjoy, again, just a travel size for this one, because I knew the Kayali Vanilla 28 would be lovely for the moments where I want a really heavily vanilla scented fragrance, but I'm not always in the mood for it. This is borderline to sweet for me as well. But there's just something about this, the vanilla with almost like this hit of caramel that it has. Yeah, this is just, again, very romantic. And I do think that that's why it's also very popular, of course. This is a very popular fragrance. But I'm really happy that they do these little mini sizes for the Kayalis, because it just means you can just try a lot more. And I think that this is a lovely one. And I love the really dark liquid. This does tend to turn darker the older your fragrance gets, but I've seen that at least with people who have like several bottles of this because they like it so much. But yeah, if I want to go for something that purely smells like vanilla, this is the one I go for. This next fragrance is one that I shared with you over the summertime because it is one of my most worn. This is down to where the sticker is. Like if I move the liquid around, you can see this is Zadig and Voltaire's For Her. That's what this is called. And this has a milky note to it. So it has this lactic creaminess to it, which makes it smell really soft, which I know, fragrance smelling soft, but that's sort of what I'm aiming for when it comes to like smelling like a cashmere sweater. This is just really, really cozy. And again, there is this hint of freshness with this. And I think this is a little bit like Marmite, like it has this sharpness that enters your nose really, really quickly. But I find, again, like with the Chanel, that sharpness goes away really quickly for me. And what I'm left with is this really nice, warm, soft, creamy scent that isn't overly sweet. So that's why I like this more than I do, for instance, the Kayali and the Mon Guerlain. But this is really, really pretty too. And I just love wearing this thing. This is one where I was like, I should have bought a bigger bottle, you know, just in case they discontinue this before my bottle is empty. But like I said, I'm about halfway gone through this. It's the smallest size they do. This is 30 mils. But yeah, a bigger one of this is on the wish list for when I run out of it. Another fragrance I shared with you is something that I've worn a lot is my Stella McCartney Stella fragrance. This is, of course, rose based. So scratch what I said about not liking florals. I do like some. But this is like, I think this is like the only truly floral fragrance in my entire fragrance collection. This is, of course, discontinued. So if I use it up, I can no longer repurchase it. I'm very well aware. I did, or was it just reformulated? I don't know what it was, but I remember a lot of people being angry about this one for some reason, and I don't remember what it was. But this is, again, like on the softer, sweeter side of things than like this really sharpness. Like some jasmine fragrances can be really sharp and a little heady, but this is just really nice. Like you've just received a bouquet of flowers, and you can't see it because it's off camera, but I bought myself some flowers last week, and I used to do that all the time, and now I just don't I just don't do that as often anymore. It's like, oh, I should. And this just sort of reminds me of that. It reminds me of like the fresh scent of like a bunch of freshly cut flowers that I put in my house. And that is why I love this one. So Stella by Stella McCartney is one I truly, truly love. Something that doesn't really go in like true fall winter for me, but that's sort of like summer transitioning into fall. So I wore this a lot actually in September. It's Gucci Bloom Aqua di Fiori, and I keep it in the box because I greatly dislike the bottle for this one. Don't know why they decided to make it pink with a very cheap looking sticker, and my sticker is even on crooked. I mean, this is not a cheap fragrance. Do you see? Like, the sticker isn't on straight. It just, yeah. Really? No longer being sold, as far as I know. I think I got one of the last ones. And another one where I'm like, I should have bought the bigger version. This is, again, something that has some freshness to it, but it also has this herbally undertone to it. That's why I like it for like fall transition or summer transitioning into fall, because it has the fresh notes that I enjoy in the summertime. And it's not that like warm, huggy feeling yet of some of the other fragrances I've just shown you. It's sort of like the perfect in-between. But again, it's in the dry down for this for me. It starts really fresh and sort of like, ooh, like it's just rained outside. And now I'm like going inside for like that warm and cozy feeling. That's what this one is. So it definitely is sort of like almost like a deceiving little fragrance, because also when you smell it from the actual bottle, it just smells fresh. It just smells fresh. But once you put it on, it has this really beautiful dry down that makes it really sort of soft, a little bit feminine, and warm and cozy as well. But not as strong of a warm, cozy feeling as some of the other fragrances I just told you about. If you truly want to embrace the pepper notes in your life, I can only recommend one thing, and it's Twilly d'Hermes Eau de Poivre, or Eau Poivrée. So the Twilly fragrances line from Hermes is quite famous. It looks like a little gentleman with its little Hermes scarf here and its little bowler hat, which you can remove the scarf if you want. And this, I need to start wearing this soon. It's a little too early in the fall season for me to be wearing this. This is more like fall going into winter for me, you could say. Again, a little bit sweet. I was gonna like get you to smell it as well, but of course there's no smell-o-vision yet. That would be revolutionary if we could smell things together. But yeah, I really love this. It's like peppery, sweet, cozy, but it's called Eau Poivrée, which is French for pepper. So this is strong on the pepper scent. So if you know you don't like pepper scents, don't buy this. But I really love it. They also do like a ginger version of this. I have like a mini travel size thing that I got free with purchase when I bought this. And I love that as well. I think this was also in my most worn fragrance video, because this is also halfway gone. And this is another one where I'm like, yeah, if they still do it by the time my bottle is gone, I would buy a bigger size bottle for sure. And yeah, there's a reason why I wear this so often. Again, it's a little bit differently from everything else I own. It has the peppery note. It's sweet, but not sickly sweet. Like, it's not candy sweet. It's like, essentially, if you give your chicken a pepper rub and you smell your hands afterwards, that's what this smells like. I do apologize for the image, but it smells like that. And those are like spicy sweet I like, but like sugary sweet, I'm not a huge fan of. Finally, I don't think they still do this, but this, I don't know what's wrong with this fragrance, because I wear this loads and I've had it for years, but it's barely going down because I don't need much of it to like show up when I wear it. This is French Grey by Elizabeth and James, which used to be a brand in perfumes from the Olsen twins. And this, I think this brand is no longer even around. But I bought 2 fragrances once upon a time, way back in the day when they still made these. I still wear them loads, but over time, I really wanted Bourbon, which is their vanilla fragrance. But now I have the Kayali one, so if I want that hint of vanilla, I have it elsewhere as well. Also because Bourbon in this line is discontinued. But over time, I've started to wear French Grey more. And this, it's again, a little bit sweet, but it's got that soft, warm hug. It's just a nice, cozy, like, fall day where the leaves have started to turn. It's a little bit wet and crisp in the air. And then you go home and it's nice and warm and you are cozy on the couch with a book. Like, that's what this fragrance is in a nutshell. And I've been wearing this a lot in the past week or two. I've been, like, sort of going back and forth between this and the Dior. That's been my favorite fragrance now that we're in October. And this is so beautiful. It's soft, it's subtle, it's, like, not too heady. Like, nobody around you is going to say, like, what are you wearing? I feel like it's barely noticeable, but that's what I like it, because I can smell it on myself. And sometimes I just catch a little whiff of it, and I really do enjoy it. So that's why I really enjoy French Grey from Elizabeth and James. And there you have it. Those were all of the 10 fragrances that I love wearing in the fall time. So thank you so very much for joining me. Leave me a comment down below what your favorite fragrances are. I would love to know. I always get great suggestions for you guys, but like I said, I have a whole list of, like, fragrances on my wish list, but because I feel like there's nothing in my collection currently that I'm wanting for. Like, a couple of years ago, I was like, oh, I need more, like, gourmand scents, or, oh, I need more fresh scents, or whatever. And currently, I don't feel that way, so I'm like, if I don't feel that way, if I'm, like, satisfied with what I have, then there's no need for me to be buying things. I might as well just work on trying to use a couple of things up and then, like, either replace that or repurchase that. I do have a little list of things for myself to try. Like, if I find them in a store, I can smell them on myself to see if I truly like them, if I wear them all day. I definitely did that with a couple of fragrances that I have purchased, like, in the past, where if they're a little harder to find, like, I'll wait until I'm near a store where I can try it. I will not wear fragrance that day. I will spray the perfume on and see how long it lasts. And that's definitely how I make decisions sometimes. So yeah, thank you so very much for joining me here today. Thank you. So yeah, thanks so much for joining me here today. Thumbs up the video if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to see more by me. And if you have any suggestions for videos that I can do with fragrance. I don't have a massive collection, you guys. I do have, like I said, my, I think it went up in January. I can link it down below if you want to see what fragrances I have in my collection. Then we can talk about that as well. But I don't see myself as a fragrance influencer per se. I just really enjoy smelling nice, and I think you guys do too. So if you have any suggestions what videos I can do, then I would love to know. And subscribe in the meantime if you want to see more by me, and then I hope to see you again really, really soon. Bye-bye!